Hey guys, it is Ryan. Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. It's your favorite time again. You guys are all scratching your head going, how do I do it? What do I gotta do? What do I need to do to win one loft races? Well, if you people are smart, on this show, you're talking to the GOAT. No, not LeBron James. He's no GOAT. You want to talk to Michael Jordan, right? The greatest of all time, you know, at the buzzard every time. Forget Reggie Miller. It's all Michael Jordan. You've got the GOAT on this show for the next hour, hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. It depends if you guys play the game, asking questions, putting comments in. The longer you guys communicate, the longer the GOAT stays on. But I'm not talking about me because I'm no GOAT. I'm a sheep. I may even be a horse or a donkey. But JT, John Timmerman, California Classic World Cup, the man, the myth, the legend. He is going to be on this show in three, two, and one. You ready to meet greatness? Here it comes, guys. Enjoy your One Love Wednesdays. Get your questions ready. Don't be shy. He's not going to bite. He's John Timmerman. He's played with thousands of pigeons. Made lots of people a lot of money. And he's created super breeders. He's done it all. And guys, all you got to do is participate in the California Classic World Cup. You participate in those races. Can be craps for you guys, but you have to try it out. Here we go. Let's start the show. There he is, the one and only John Timmerman, the GOAT of One Loft Pigeon Racing in the United States of America. How's it going, John?
It's going well, Ryan. What's happening? What's the latest? How's Belgium treating you?
The weather went to shit. It's gotten cold. We're at 15 degrees. Widowhood Cox, though, you know, I've seen it with my neighbor, Sorrel Lambrex. I watched his Widowhood Cox play, Sprint Widowhood Cox, and I watched Large's Widowhood Cox play. And you can really see when you really put the time into those Widowhood Cocks and you watch them, boy, it's romantic. It's poetry. If you watch hens that are separated and you got them locked up or whatever you do, you watch them fly and they just look like young birds rambling. They got that nice, that tight cut. But Widowhood Cox is beautiful. It's like art. It really is art. Are they as good as the hens? I don't think so. What do you think, John? You think if you were gonna fly, like, and I'm saying you're putting money down on the table, you're gonna go with cocks or hens, John? What do you think?
I go with the hens, but it could be just the way here in the States we race week in and week out, increasing the distance. I just think overall the hens keeping form is a lot easier, and I think that percentage wise you're going to find a better number of hens than you will cocks. But of course, if you do get that special cock, I mean you're dangerous.
Mm.
But I mean, if you got most guys got an 8x8 loft. I mean, and if you got three or four of those sections, but it's kind of a shame to have one cock for that 8x8. Whereas, you could have 20 hens in there, and if you just have a stronger team.
Yeah, I gotta say, I went to Emil Denny's place. I've been there many times. Um, and he had Emil Denny's has about 15 lofts. And he'd have so he'd take a whole round of young birds and he'd put them in a loft. He did his young bird season, which he didn't care about. He did the yearling season, which okay, a little bit. He did the 2-year-old season. When he hit the 2-year-old season, 2 and 3-year-olds, he cared, right? And he had in some lofts 3 or 4 pigeons in a whole loft cocks. And he was playing Barcelonas with them, or like the national or the international races. And it's so funny exactly what you say, but cocks are something to look at. They act so much different. It's so interesting to see it. It's like it's completely peas and carrots. And when you get into Belgium, you see lofts. Sorel Lambrecht, for instance, he lives and dies by cocks. Just that's it. It's like it's cocks or it's nothing. And you got to think, You got to think, John. How many hens blew the cocks out of the water? It's the same thing. If you only fly hens, how many cocks were the supers? You know?
Well, I mean, you're 100% right. I think on a ratio, especially now, like for us in the States, guys are shipping 50 birds, open limits. Hens are less work. Cocks, motivation, there's just more involved.
Well,
And but you're right. I mean, as the art of pigeon racing, it's something to see. But if you're going to you're going to shipping and you want to perform, I think if you got a team of good hands, you're dangerous. It's
you
like
know,
anything. It's like anything else. I mean, you got to have the pigeon. I mean, you need a good team.
I always say when you look at hens or women in general, they're a little bit more calm than we are, aren't we? You go to a bar, normally you see men fighting, women you don't. Even in a relationship, the man is strong, but when the breakup comes, the man's normally he's sulking. A little bit more than the woman. And I see it the same way in pigeons. I think you can fire a hen. The hen rebuilds quicker. It rests. It doesn't sulk. I don't think the hen needs as much of the sex, the motivation, the draw. I don't think it needs it. And
No.
and you know what? People will say, and we have some comments here. Noel Raymond from Ireland says hello. Hey, Noel. Nice to tune in. Guys, your comments are going to work on this show. If you don't participate, me and the GOAT, John Timmerman, we close at an hour. We do not play around. We don't need to talk to each other. We do that every
Right.
day. No. A gentleman just wrote the GOAT intro, but Larry Bird was the GOAT. Well, listen, Larry Bird might be the GOAT in your eyes, but I'm going to tell you something. Michael Jordan is the GOAT of all basketball. And the guy that you have on the other side of the screen, besides me talking, going like this, that's the GOAT of one loft racing in America. And I bet this man, I will bet my whole bank account, drop him anywhere in the world flying one loft pigeons, he gets a super result because he puts the details in. He takes the time, inch by inch by inch by inch. He's starting small, and now he's one of the best in the United States. Not in size, but consistently year and year after year after year, he does it. Milton says, "Aloha, Ryan and fellow fanciers. Hey, how to you?" But John, my question is: we talk about hens, we talk about cocks. For these one loft races, deep, deep down, what do you really think? What's your real bet?
I think it depends what season you're racing. I think that is it a fast day? Is it an easy day? I mean, the times that I've had some tougher races, it's been cocks, bigger, a little longer. But of course, those are days where we're flying a lot of, headwinds and whatnot. Um, but on average, I think still hens I think you have a higher percentage of hens.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, do you feel when you're sending, I don't know, you're sending to this rate, you send to Pattaya, you send to Africa, you send all over. Are you more wanting to send hens? Like, okay, in my thought, I'm just going to say something. Your cutoff is when?
Couple weeks.
Okay. So a couple weeks from now, it's going to be your cutoff, right?
Correct.
If I was sending, when did you start taking birds?
We started the second week of March.
Second week of March. Second week of March, I'm going to send you all my hens. I'm going to say your cutoff is the 5th of June, okay, or 10th of June. I'm thinking. I'll send you young cocks then. Everything at the beginning, I want to send hens. I don't want to send cocks because cocks, when they're not, when they're in the in between stage, I think they're stupid. What do you think?
Um, you know, sometimes an older cock is good. I mean, you might be lucky enough that pigeon's driving is being territorial in the loft. I mean, there's a lot of things that to consider, and of course, it always depends on the day of the race. What kind of weather you have. Those are all factors. But what I like about hens, right? You're looking at medium size. You're not, the chances of it getting too big, that's very seldom. Whereas cocks, especially if you go on a longer size cock handling, he has a tendency to grow, and that could work against you. It'll depend on the day.
Yeah, in my feeling, I find young cocks or cocks when they're horny and ready to go. I find when the young cocks act like a hen, that might take the hen into the corner and act calm. Not, I don't want to see, hey, I'm going to the bar tonight, cock. I want to see, your buddy. You were going to the bar. Your buddy was going to the bar. The other guy was going to the bar. And then there's Mike. Mike's in the corner, and Mike just goes, yeah, I'm just out for the ride. And at the end of the night, all three of us struck out, but Mike, he picked up a girl. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I always think the calmer cocks do a little bit better than the kamikaze cocks. And that's why I say, I think for one loft racing, if you're a guy that's into sending early, send the hens. But I think if you're trying to make that cutoff, the cocks are a bit too young. And I mean, too young to where when they come to the final of your race, they're just starting to get that real sexual drive. I think that's good. But I'm just I'm trying to play it both ways. And guy, if you are watching, you're saying, well, what the hell are we looking at? California Classic, feeding the birds. Take a look, guys. Take a look at the condition on these pigeons. You see it. Look at the twizzling. Look at the flapping. Look at the movement in these pigeons. Watch it, guys. This is why this is one of the greatest races in the United States. Take a look. You know what? You see, John. I'm getting goosebumps, man. Man, ah, tell me something, John. Anything. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm just observing because I haven't seen this video myself. I mean, we just turned it on and walked, set it and
Yeah.
walked away. Um, yeah, I mean, overall, the birds are doing good. We just started pulling flights today. And so a couple weeks, then we start on our game program.
I have a question with pulling flights. Some people pull one flight, two flights, three flights, tails. I remember one year, first year I worked with the Hoosier, Jimmy Ward. Worked with him. He went there, he pulled all the tail feathers, did everything. Okay. Everybody has a different way of playing the game. And I can't knock it. Everybody has a different way. But do you think deep down you need to pull anything?
I've been back and forth with that. It's always better, of course. It's just something we've done for the special races, so the birds aren't handicapped. I mean, at least what we think, having too much air in the flights, in the wing, and so. But you're right. Sometimes we do pull them, and sometimes it happens. They could grow in improperly, and sometimes we're doing things that Mother Nature should be taking care of, and that's not but it's a big controversy because everybody would like to have a pigeon with a full wing when it goes to the race. That's what we're
Right.
accustomed to. That's what we're accustomed to. It's no different than, here in the States, guys want to handle their pigeons and look at their pigeons, but you take the bigger races across the country. I don't think that gets done. I think that, pulling flights for us, um, that's just something we've done, and that's just the norm. And then a lot of us grew up that way. And
Okay. So my next question is, and again, I always play the devil's advocate, or I try to, or I hope people do. Do you think it really changes the end result of what's going to finish or not? I mean, if you didn't pull them or you did pull them, do you think it's going to really change that much?
well, you're right. I mean, if a pigeon's on, it's on. I mean, we've seen, years ago, I didn't pull the 10th. And there's been many races, of course, and I'm sure most of you are aware that if that 10th flight is, just coming in or three-quarters of the way in, it's top form. It's a natural form that uh, you can't bring the pigeon in any condition like that on a natural level. Um, but of course, the flight might be three-quarters of the way in and they've won. There's guys that the ninth flight is missing and they won. Bird's missing an eighth and they won. So, you know, it could go back and forth, and it could, myself, of course, I always like a wing to be full. I mean, you
Me
don't want the
too.
pitch. You're going into a big derby to win. You're not going there to place. So you would like for that pigeon to have all the attributes to perform. But I know on my end, I've also had pigeons, like I get ready to pull flights here, and then, most flights will be pulled within the next 2-3 weeks. And if the pigeons haven't dropped two flights, I'd I'd rather not pull. I don't pull because a
Now,
lot of times,
why is that?
most of the time, the flights will come in crooked, or you're really messing with Mother Nature then. And um, and sometimes it goes well, and then I've seen a lot of times it does not. And to me, then it's a roll of the dice, and that's just, I mean, I have this discussion with someone 4 or 5 months, no, was it back in November when we had the race, after the race, and the person was, he's a little upset, and I had to explain to him that your pigeon came home on the 350, and yeah, he was very pleased with the feathering and everything. I said, correct. I said, but had I pulled the flight when it really wasn't mature enough, I would have stunted the flight, and then maybe the bird never would have came home. You never would have saw the pigeon again. So, you know, there's so many variables involved that, hey, you can't win them all. As a handler, you're just trying to make sure that you're doing what's best for the animal, right? I mean, you're looking at all the things, but there are no guarantees. And even with, given plenty of time for by cutting the flights and no blood in the quills, you don't. When you pull them, you just never know. You just never know. And
And what I want to say is I want to take some pressure off of you, John, because there's a lot of pressure being a one loft guy, being the guy, right? And what people have to realize is he's got to service 2,000 to 3,000 pigeons. He has to sort of make make it the best for everyone, the best way that he can, and he tries that. Does it always work to 100%? He's never 100%, but he's pretty damn close. And again, he's putting the time in. It's a lot of work to pull these flights. It's a lot of work. He doesn't have to. He does it. He tries to bring all the birds to the equal level. And I think that's a loft manager doing his job. Now, you can say, well, that's bullshit. That's not. Hold on. This might not be the race for you. But he's working for you so you get a good result. And you know what? I'm positive of this. I watched this video. I'm watching the pigeons, not the pigeons eating, everything else. Look at them go to the drinker. Look at the cocks cooing on the feeder. Look at it. Guys, health is right there. This is one section. But you look at one section, they're all going to be the same. John, beautiful video here today, man. You're doing hey, John, you're not making me a liar, eh? I don't like to be a
Hey,
liar.
like I said before, this is young pigeons, and people just need to understand that young pigeons, they could turn on the dime. And
Yes.
those that have flown pigeons, all you just cross your fingers and you just make sure you're prepared and you got whatever medicines and vitamins in the cabinet, because that's the game. Um, and sometimes, of course, you try to stay away from all the unnecessary things that you don't need to give. But there's times when you do have to use medication, and uh, I've just over the years I've done it so many different ways, and as natural as possible is the best, because in the end you can't change a jackass into a racehorse, and that applies to the pigeons as well. And even though these pigeons, even myself included, we send off pigeons. Um, we send off birds to these races. They change, and you're hoping the quality stays, but sometimes big numbers of pigeons in these lofts, they stress, weather changes, and the strong ones will survive. I remember Ron Steinbrenner, those of us that participated over there years ago. Ron had a very small setup, and he used to overcrowd the birds, and his philosophy was, hey, this is one loft race, and the champion starts right now because he's got to survive. So those are
He
all things
wasn't wrong.
those are all things that we look at, and people, everybody would like to be spoon fed in these situations, but in the end, we're looking for the main racehorse, the strongest, and that does not include just the racing. That includes being superior health wise as well.
Hey guys, you're hearing it from John Timmerman, California Classic, World Cup. Uh, he's the owner, he's the handler, he's the man that he puts this all together. What you see on that screen in front of you, this is his creation. And if you look at the pigeons, take a look. Look at the comfort. Look at the love. Look at the cocks dancing. Look at the movement. Look at them going to the drinker. Nobody's starving. Okay. Right now, we've got them at a point, in, out, in, out. You don't want crazy trapping. It's easy. It's calm. It's comfortable. Correct? Club Med, kind of like Club Med, right?
Well, they're giving Club Med. If they stay, that's a different story. We'll see.
who who don't want to stay at Club Med? Anyways, okay, we got some comments. Chad Ward, no, no, no. Okay, we got Chad Ward says he thinks hens are better. Noel Raymond says hens always do it for me. Michael Peebler said, "Did in 2020 did COVID affect your race at all?"
Well, shit. All right. No, we went forward. We've gone through, even with going back, what year was it? It's probably about, we dealt with it twice. It was, what the hell do they call it? The Newcastle disease.
Okay,
And in California, they shut us down. And I mean, myself and Steve Miner, and at the time, another gentleman, Ron Moden, who used to run a race. I mean, and then at the time, Johnny Steinbrenner was still going, he was still around, and we were commuting 3 hours one way into Arizona to go pick up our pigeons and bring them back to San Diego. I mean, you talk about 2 or 3 months of doing that shit. I mean, it was crazy. Um, that was probably the biggest effect that we had with our birds, with the races. But for everything else, we've been very fortunate. You're talking 23 years for me. San Diego itself with Ron before that. I mean, 40 years of racing, and we've never got shut down, which is truly amazing. And to keep something going this long is kind of mind blowing. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm already getting older, and these young kids that were 3 or 4 walking around with their parents, and now they're putting pigeons in the race, and it just it's really crazy. And then not to mention all the people that, like I've mentioned so many times, that helped, led the way, and they gave the support to do this. So many of them are gone.
Yeah, and again, guys, you take a look at this is a pigeon man's work. How many, John? We're not. You can't see me, or I can't see you, and people don't worry. I just want you to see the beauty in what I'm looking at. This makes me feel real good inside. How many in the California Classic? How many lofts and how many birds are participating right now? Up to date.
I mean, how many sections? I think I got 24 sections that are 12 by 12, uh, and then well, no, 10 wide, and some of them they're like 16 feet deep,
Hmm.
and I got 24 sections like that. And what was the other question?
My okay, so the whole question was, I know the size there, the lofts and the sections. How many breeders and how many birds right now are you roughly at?
We're at, I should be right at 1,500, and what are we at? 250, 300 breeders, something like that, close to.
Now, I just want to tell people this is a very hard feat to accomplish. I know what you're looking at. You're seeing young pigeons dancing around, and oh, John, you're on Club Med, eh? It's easy for you. The birds just come in and you make money. In all honesty,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Hey, John, always remember, Walt Disney made it look beautiful, didn't he? Remember,
Oh yeah.
hey, all of a sudden Pinocchio's nose grew. But in all honesty, you're watching a man that is specialized in performing with pigeons from 2 to 3 to 400 lofts. Put them together and look at what you see. Look at the black checker cock. Look at him in the corner. He's dancing. Look at the blue one dancing. Look at the preening. You see the details, but just look at it. Not one pigeon looks like he's shriveled up and needs to be put in the bin. That's a man that's doing his job. He's earning the perch fee. John, congratulations.
Oh, we're not done
Those
yet, dude. We got a long way to go. So there's no pat on the back yet. I mean, we still got a long way to go. I mean, am I happy at this point? Yeah, I'm happy because we're coming to an end of receiving pigeons, and um, so far, I mean, as far as health and all that, nothing's been an issue in the loft. Um, Vaccine problems was a little bit difficult this year, just because at the beginning of the season, a lot of the feed companies had problems with getting vaccines. So myself, we had the vaccines, but I think a lot of breeders did not. And if when they did acquire, I think some people were just shooting them right before they sent them or too close, and that just became a little bit of an issue, I believe. I'm not 100% certain. So I'm going to try something a little different with this later group that this for the next week or two that I still got to get birds.
okay.
But overall, everything's going good. I mean, like I mentioned in our message board, we have a little bit of some eye colds coming on board, but that's always typical starting now. And once they start molting here in another 2 weeks, then I'm sure we'll probably run into a few more.
Question. In the eye colds, is it always the left eye?
That I don't know. Um,
In Belgium, they talk about the left eye cold, and it's a 2 week process. They say put them on light feed for those birds, but see if it's the left eye. Just You know, I when I heard it, I was shocked, and then I've seen it. I go, okay, left eye, only the left eye. Take a look, John.
Well, what I do know is that sometimes, if you just get an eye cold, that's not a problem. You could give an eye drop and it goes away. But um, in the previous years, mycoplasma was bad. That was something that was uh, prevalent in certain parts of California, and I don't think it's something that was in the loft. I think it's something that just in the air. Yeah, you
Okay,
gonna send me
so
two bottles?
yeah, this stuff here, it works like lightning. Wet eyes, bad nose, greasy nose. Greasy nose means gray nose. The nose isn't. You want a nose to look white, like a piece of paper, like a cloud. You like this stuff, John?
Well, I'm just going by what you mentioned. I have never, I haven't used it, so.
This stuff here, very good. Any gurgling, any rattling, it works great. But again, okay, we got a comment. I got to get to the comment because if I don't, then I'm a bad guy. So the comment is, so let me pull this up. This is all new to me. Can you tell me, John, when you you won Loft race, can you tell me how long the season is and how many races will you do with your bird? So this is a gentleman that's interested in your race. Tell him a little bit
Well,
about your race quickly.
I mean, for us in San Diego, I mean, we start receiving birds in March. We start training. I myself, I'll start training second week of August, and we train all the way up until November, and then we start with our races. Here in San Diego, we fly 4 races, um, and we max out at 350 miles. And the reason is because of daylight savings. The days get really short when we get into December. Uh, we fly a 140, a 190, a 300, and then we go to 350. And for us, our typical speeds vary from 13s into mid 15s. Most of the time on the finals are in the 14s, high 13s, 14s. But we've encountered some races, we hit speed records 3 years ago, which, out of 30 years, it's never happened. I think we're 1800, but that does not happen. And we've hit more difficult races for us in San Diego, I mean, we get embarrassed sometimes to say it, but our percentages are lower considered, most of the other parts of the country. But it is what it is. But I will say that, and I've said it before many times, that and those that are in the race, those breeders, they'll tell you themselves. The ones that score or birds that are consistent or birds that are in the top 100, they turn out to be really good pigeons for these guys. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we kind of have survived for so many years, because people see that, they recognize that now. And no, it's, as the old timers would say, it's not a lollipop course. And that's, I mean, and that's it, there's any pigeon guy, I think, you take care of the numbers, big numbers of birds. Nobody likes to see the losses, but that's part of the game. And you just, all we can do, I can't speak for the rest of the country, I can't speak for San Diego, but I will say for myself that you plan ahead, you do everything that you're supposed to do. But hey, when you go up against Mother Nature, when you're releasing those pigeons, you just don't know what you're going to get. And that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, again, you're only as good as the last time you let them out. But everything that John says is correct. If you look at the results and you go through the archives of the California, I'll use the I'm John. I'm going to use the California Classic. Okay, it's your longest of the two. You will see, uh, 13, 14, 15. You'll see 1,000. You'll see 1,000. You see 1,100, 13, 14. You don't see 19, 19, 21. And I'm talking about speed. You don't see ridiculous speeds. You see real racing. And we talked about it, John. It's funny, eh? Certain races throughout the world, people win or people have good results, and they'll post the pedigrees. You see pigeons from the California Classic. Because why? I'm telling you guys, this man is a real pigeon man. He plays it properly. There's no magical loft burning down. The trailers always work. And he's here. He's in front of you. You can ask him the questions. We have some comments. Here we go. UK Birdman, he's from the UK. What age do you think youngsters are the best to send to one law races?
Myself, I think a little older is better. I mean, you don't want to get too young because everybody's got a different environment, and you're just by you keeping their bird at home a little longer, you're just ensuring that it's eating and drinking, and again, you could vaccinate and give your bird plenty of time to mature, and then you could determine, is it healthy enough, is it strong enough, is it if it fits the way you like in your hands, then you send it. When
Okay.
the smaller they are, the younger they are, right? It's hard to determine what that pigeon's going to be in 3 months from now, let alone 8 months from now when it's race day.
Do you think um do you think 6, 7 weeks age is good? Or when you send, because I know you're very good at one law races, what's your age that you send?
I'm usually 6 weeks,
Okay. So
six,
six,
seven
seven
weeks.
weeks. It's the happy medium. It's the happy medium. You can see how they're acting. I agree with you. Okay. Next question. Is that like to respect them? Yes, it is. Oh boy, we got a long one here. Oh geez. My reading is not the best. With that many birds coming from different lofts, what are some of the health products you depend on to keep the birds healthy from the sicknesses? Is there something you use or
I mean, I
multiple
prefer.
products?
The last few years, I prefer oregano products in the water. You know, if there is issues, I always like the DeWeert products firsthand. I do use a lot of Tolleson. Um, but in recent times, I just keep it simple. I use oregano and I use some products out of Mexico for good gut, for probiotics, and I just keep it simple. This last week, I should say 2 weeks ago, I hit him on an Adeno product, which is actually by Tolleson, and then this last week I hit him on a respiratory product that's also good for orientosis, and it has a product in there to help with mycoplasma, because as I mentioned, that's this time of year is something that it does happen with the babies.
And again, guys, remember when those birds come in, and I'll play it next week, you see how he sets up the birds. Birds come in, they go into their own little apartment, and they go through a 1 week process where John looks at the droppings. John looks how they're eating, how they're drinking, how they look. Feathers are tight, sparkling, looking good. You have to use your pigeon sense. You got to look at the pigeons. You look at the droppings, you look at everything. It helps tell you. uh John, here's a question from a guy from UK Birdman. This is a good question, John. Do you think long distance pigeons do better in one off races?
I think it depends on the type of race you're dealing with. I mean, I had the discussion with Ryan a week ago. I flew some pigeons that were from Kittle descent. I flew them all the way to the 5. I think it was just under 12 hours on the wing, and that was predominantly supposed to be a short distance pigeon. But the pigeon, in my hands, this was one of my own personal birds. It cut it. Um, but you know, I've seen a lot of these guys now. They're crossing short with the middle, short with the long, and that's the result. I mean, that's been good. But of course, you get into these hard races where there's not many pigeons. Um, then you do see, birds with the history of a lineage of long distance. So,
Hey, let me ask you, John. 2006 to 2013, did you find it was more longer distance pigeons winning your races?
well, the basics, the main crosses, what I've done well with in the races were like a Gabby, uh, Leo Herman's, Cannibal Cross. That
Okay.
three-way cross has been pretty much one of the lines that have done well. In recent years,
Hmm.
like in the Royal Cup, where it's been, some brutal races, it was Porsche blood, and there was a few guys that just killed it. Um, there's been pigeons that have the Verhey blood. My friend John in Florida, he's
Hmm.
got a family of pigeons that him and Art Heath have had for 50 years. Art passed away, of course,
Yeah,
but
I was there.
those pigeons help, Ramiro Aztec Loft to win the Hoosier, uh, win the Royal Cup, and I believe there was one more where he did good with those pigeons. John Stevens, going back, we're talking like 15 years ago. He had a straight Verhey, which was we named the bird Sandman, and that pigeon, was a predominant breeder for him, and that pigeon came on a day where the weather was just ugly. I mean, we're talking sandstorm, and hence that's the name for the cock, Sandman. But never thought we would have had birds. I mean, where the loft sits, we're in the mountains, or at the, I would say in the foothills, and the pigeons do have to come through the mountains, and it was just ugly, ugly weather, and two birds arrived. You just never forget it. That's, through my friendship with John. I mean, you just don't forget that. It's crazy.
Yeah, interesting. Michael Peebler has a real good question, Josh, and something to think about. Has John ever thought about moving the one-off race to a yearling race?
Um, you know, it's there are races already like that. Um, you got to remember that for us in San Diego, it was always geared to an event, and the event was November. And the reason that took place back, for us, we have a holiday, Thanksgiving, and that week of racing was right after a big race in LA, which was at the Snowbird Classic. So at the time, we're talking in the late '80s, early '90s. I mean, those were the races. I mean, that was the number one race in the country for years. And so people would go into town for that race, and then that race ended on Saturday, and then people would roll into San Diego on Sunday and start a week of racing here.
Let me ask you, do you think, John, the one-off racing, uh, uh, I'm not saying original, but the big, it really started in San Diego, in that California area here where you are?
Well, I mean, we had a
Was that the
history.
super hot spot?
Well, it was something that it was the first of its kind in the sense of providing a week of racing where you had people from all parts of the country, not to mention the weather in San Diego. Not to say that it's always been perfect, but majority times you're going to get some sun. And that was attractive to so many people throughout the states or people outside the country. And so that's a huge factor, let alone the racing. uh, it wasn't just the locals that did well. You had people out of Canada, you had people out of Texas, you had people out of New York. They were all over the United States. But everybody understood back then, the type of racing, what was at hand. And Yeah, it's always been that way.
And it's again what we say is, hey guys, if you think you got real damn good pigeons, you send them to the California Classic, you send them to the Royal Cup, you send them to the San Diego Triple Crown, send them. Go and try it out. See what you have. Because it's true, John. All over the United States, the good ones show up, don't they? And it's because I believe the guys handling the pigeons are great. They put a real effort. You, Steve Miner, I'm going to say Ron Steinbrenner, you guys put the job in, you put the work in. But at the end of the day, pigeons from all over, the good ones, they figured it out. And you got a mixture. You got a mixture, correct?
Well, 100%. I mean, the dynamics of San Diego, we had shit. We all came from a different generation, but we were able to all be on the same page of what we wanted to accomplish. And, you know, sure, we had to be successful in order to carry on for the following year. But in the end, all our races, San Diego Classic, which is now the Triple Crown or the original Triple Crown, the winning pigeons always went back to the breeders all these years.
Yeah.
We've never said, hey, we need 50% of your winnings, or we never did that bullshit because it was about the sport. And that's why we survived, I believe, so long, because it was more for the fellowship of the sport, but also for the support of what we were doing in San Diego. And yeah, I mean, that's, you know, but back then we're talking only 200 breeders. Now, like myself, I need 350, 400 breeders in order to keep things going. And it's hard to maintain that, and especially when you have a whole new generation of pigeon guys, and a lot of them fairly new, and people are, in a lot of ways, you see it in the clubs. The clubs are shrinking, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because you need the clubs to really understand pigeon racing, to understand the dynamics, what to expect. You look at so many clubs, uh, the ones that have been racing, they know what a smash is, you know, and now you have a lot of guys that, because they bought a piece of paper and they believe that that's going to be a superstar, and it gets lost. They're looking at the handler, and it doesn't work that way. That's the fascinating part of the sport, and that's you know uh, San Diego is a race. Our race, I should say, our race is not just mine. It's all about genetics, and that's what makes it interesting. You still need the speed to win, but you need the genetics for the birds to come home, and that separates us from a lot. Not always the good, because most of the guys, they don't. I shouldn't say most of the guys. I just think that the new generation, they don't see it that way. But these are homing pigeons. This isn't. You could bank on them all the time to be home in 5 hours. If it's always going to be like that, then it gets boring.
I've talked to people, Joe Namalka. I've talked to Dave Klausing. I've talked to multiple people, Marty Laden. I talked to the Jones boys in my years, okay? And they all say the same thing. This San Diego race week in general, the best of the best pigeons finish. They've got to go mountains, desert, mountains. They got to get crosswinds, headwinds, shoulder winds, side winds. If they're real lucky, they get easy tailwinds. But at the end of the day, they have to do it. They have to navigate through. And guys, I will tell you, if you're flying international one loft races, you want to go to Pattaya, you want to go to Victoria Falls, and you're in America or you're in Canada, don't go to Florida. Don't go to Indiana. I'm telling you this. This isn't from John's mouth. This is from me. You send your goddamn birds to San Diego. Why? You're going to get tough. You're going to get hard nosed. When you see our training video, John Sarch, 2 miles, 4 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, all the bullshit. You see those birds, the canyons, the swoops they got to go through. The birds got to have the intelligence. And that's what you want. You need intelligence and you need power. This is what they give you. San Diego, in the United States of America, Canada. I don't know about Mexico. I never been. It's the best three races. These three races: San Diego Triple Crown, the Royal Cup, and the California Classic. If you want to breed birds that you can send to international one loft races and have a chance, this is the race. John, I'm sorry. I know it, my friend. We've seen too many birds do it. I've talked to too many people, and they swear by it. Following good products, following good lofts, and that's a hats off to you and your staff of what you're doing. Now, I see here in the loft you're moving around. Anything in the water special right now?
Right now, I just, like I said, I put them on a respiratory product. I'm kind of hit. I hit them with a few different antibiotics before I pull the flights. Not going to think that the stuff, any of the stuff will bother them, but I just wanted to clean them up a little bit before we get onto it.
Okay, I like how the drinkers are off the ground. So if you people are wondering what's up in the top corner where you see the pigeons going up, that's the drinker, and it's all fresh water from the tap.
So yeah, I'm on well water.
Okay, so when you're mixing, uh, do you have like is it like a tank or what? How does it work if you're medicating?
Well, I'm not afraid. There's no chlorine in the water. It's just well water. It's natural. So it's
Oh,
it's, it's it's hard water.
okay,
So no, we're good.
you're good. And you guys see the feeders. Look at it. One, two, three, four, five. Five feeders in a section. You see the birds. You don't have them super hungry. Is there a reason for that?
No, there's no reason to keep them too hungry. In fact, I like to keep them a little heavier. I mean, we did have them a little lighter, keeping the feed for trap training and all that. But I'd rather keep the birds a little bit more full. Especially we're getting ready to start. The birds are going to be getting ready to fall apart molt wise. So I don't want them too light. I want them to have all the nutrients to go through a good molt.
Okay.
Once we start letting them out again, then we'll start pulling the feed on them a little bit. But right now, just you know feed them well, not over, but just feed them well.
Okay. UK Birdman says, do you adjust the feed quantities, quality quantities, based on training, distance, time of year? How are you like right now? Right now, is feed different than when it start to go time. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I mean I keep them at an ounce, pretty much just over an ounce, a bird. So yeah, it's kind of measured off on how we feed, and that way we always have control. I mean, I was taught that at a young age that if the pigeons aren't flying to you, then you're obviously you got them a little too much too packed. So it's always better to have just especially young pigeons. You want them to feel they got to come to you. So we keep them on. We don't keep them on edge. They think they're on edge, but they're just trained that way.
Yeah, very well said. UK Birdman says, for somebody to get into a one loft race, what advice would you give them? John, for the new people or for somebody who has birds, what's the advice you're going to give to get into a one loft race?
I think you
You
need to,
know,
whatever country you're from, study the results, and look at the integrity of the people that are participating in the race, and then go from there. There's no reason to drop big dollars on pigeons right off the bat. Get your feet wet, understand it first, and then on your end, make sure you've got the proper housing for the pigeons.
Yeah, and I agree. I will say, hey, always send your own birds. You know, you buy a pigeon from here and a pigeon from there, and you put it together. I'm not so interested in putting that in a one loft race. The pigeons you have at home that you're playing with week in and week out, try them. Try them out. And you know what? I say one other thing that I really believe in. When you send birds to a one loft race, be quiet, let the season go. You may send five pigeons, you lose them all before training, except for one. One makes it. Let the one make it, follow the season, judge the season at the end. Don't judge it halfway through. Don't judge it through the first little bit. Let it go through. Let it play its course. How many people, John, have you seen that they've sent you five pigeons? You've lost four of them, and the fifth one was a super.
Oh yeah, that happened. That's people need to understand. I mean, that was the whole concept. Five pigeons. You didn't want all five pigeons to make it to the race because you had to
Too
pay the
much
entry
money.
fee. Yeah, you were hoping just to have one or two left, but as long as they were the best of the two, or the best of the five, I should say, if you had five bird entry. But you're hoping to have, you're hoping to have the racehorse. That's what you're hoping for, and that's what you're hoping for when you have your handler who's going to do his job to bring out the best of the pigeons. That's that's where it's at. Now, for myself, I mean, I used to have a cap. I used to have a limit, 10 pigeons per breeder. But over the years, things have changed. Other races went with bigger numbers, and of course, breeders have declined. Breeders have passed on. So I had to make adjustments in order to get numbers in the race. Um, but if I had it my way, we would be back to 5, 10 pigeons per breeder because that's what always makes it interesting.
Guys, I tell you, he's romantic. Take a look, take a listen. But again, you have to, John, and hey, we have to adapt with the time. And I totally get it. The
Well,
old school guys, they're not here no more.
no, well, like I said though, for me over the years, it's hey, in the beginning we didn't know what was a good pigeon or a bad pigeon. We all had our thoughts, but over the years, the pigeons that have scored or hung in there to the very end, finished the series, have turned out to be good birds for people. And when you hear that, then those are the stats. It's not just a whim. It's reality. And that's, like I mentioned so many times, that becomes rewarding where now it's not just about a big money race. It's about the sport. It's about some of these breeders acquiring pigeons that are become special in their loft that they are now able to carry on with a family of pigeons. And you will see that because there are numerous guys still left that are in their 70s, 75, 80 that have been with me for 20 some years. And their families of birds speak for themselves.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We have a comment here, and I want to read this one. Ryan, you send birds to John wait, you send birds to John. You have a pigeon that wins first two races. Can you pull the bird out for the rest of the season? Well, if I'm sending a bird to a race, I want to play it the whole way. Win, lose, it's part of the game. Am I sending birds? Okay. Before you guys, if you guys don't know, I started going to San Diego in 2011. I met Ron Steinbrenner. I met Steve and Ahmad from the Holiday Cup. I met John. I sent birds for a few years to both the races. I did okay. I won some good money. I was quite happy. I took a break. Financially, I had to take a break. And me and John started back up. I do not have any birds in the California Classic or the Royal Cup or the San Diego Classic Triple Crown. I'm promoting their race. I will not participate. I'd love to. John, wouldn't you love to participate in your own race? It's fun, right? You love racing pigeons. You want to participate, but I'm not going to do that. And I hope
Well,
you
like I mentioned,
understand.
like I said before, as a handler that has done this so many years, the biggest reward is when you have your breeders come back and say, hey, that bird just bred me the winner over one of the big races throughout the country. And then now you know that you didn't do all this shit for nothing, or the times that it was painful when you had a rough race. Uh, the good pigeons speak for themselves. And, it's just like someone told me many times already, I've heard it. You have an exam and everybody passes the exam. Was that test easy? Absolutely. But now you have an exam where only a few students passed. Now that's a challenge. That was a difficult test. Well, it's no different than for this race course here. If they all came home, it'd be easy, but they don't.
Oh,
So that sums it up. That's all I can say.
yeah. And people asking, am I going to participate this year, next year, the year after in John's, John's California Classic, the Royal Cup, or the Triple Crown? All three races I want to. And I push people to do. I'm not going to do it. I'm not like the races. There's races there in America, in Indiana, where the owner is playing in the race. I'm not doing it. In my opinion, I'm not doing it. I love to fly in this race. I'm not doing it because why? I promote the race. I care about the race. And you know what? I don't want anyone to say ever, oh, he's friends with you. That's why you won. This man, John Timmerman, he's not that guy. Steve and Ahmad, they're not those people. This is a good race. It's an honest race. It's a race that you can go to bed at night. The loft will be there in the morning. It won't burn down with some cockamamie bullshit. Sorry, John. John, I'm sorry. No, hey, listen.
Oh,
I
we'll
don't.
just leave it
I'm
at we'll just
pissed
leave
off.
we'll just
I
leave
want
it
to
at
fly
that.
a race and win.
Well, like I said before, this whole this discussion with Ryan and myself, these weekly things is to help for newer guys to get an understanding of pigeon racing in general, and to give you open to kind of open everybody's eyes. And it's not just I mean, we fly a difficult course going east, but California in general, most of these guys, it's California is difficult, just with the heat and the winds and in the mountain terrains. Some of the guys have it a little bit easier, and then there's a few guys that just have it a little bit more difficult. It's just the reality.
The bottom line is it's not easy. And John Timmerman, he's my friend. The whole San Diego group, I like the guys. I know the work they put in. I will not tarnish it to fly in the race. I'd love to. It's a good race. And guys, hey, you want to put a team in for me? Don't tell me. You tell John, put him in. Go ahead. I don't know. I don't care. I know one thing. It's the work, it's the ethic, it's getting up every day and making no excuses. You know, John, I watch your race early years, early 2000s, mid 2000s, till now. You never show up with an excuse. Why not? Why don't you
There
have
are
an
no.
excuse?
I mean, the reality is, I was told this many years. There's no crying in pigeon racing. It's just that simple. You got to be, you man up, you deal with it, and it's just like when it's race day. I mean, there's been many times where people come back, hey, how do you feel? I feel good. I did my job. The day is the day. If you raise pigeons, that's how it works. The day is the day. You can't make excuses. You can't push dates back. You can't alter the schedule just because you're afraid people are going to scold you. It is what it is. So that's where we're at, and that's why there's times where yes, could I have made a change? You can't second guess. It's pigeon racing. If the day is good, people have to understand if the release point is good and the release point is good at home, or the at home, the conditions are good, you're supposed to race. What's in between is in between.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not disagreeing with you, John. I'll say this, John. You fly. I'll say with very little. You fly with fear, but you're very confident, John. No, you know your angles, and this is why people watching this from around the world. This is why I say I can drop this man in anywhere, Alaska. I can drop him in Iraq. I can drop him in Africa. I think this is one of the best one loft handlers because he's got control. He's done it. He's played with a lot of pigeons. He knows how to play the piano. Is he perfect? No. Nobody can be perfect. But he's got control. He's got control. He knows how to pay out the money. He knows how to get the pigeons to the end. He knows how to push those pigeons to the max of their abilities. And guess what? Son of a bitch does it, not in Florida on some easy bullshit downhill course. He does it through the mountains. Guys, this is John Timmerman. This is why I call him the GOAT. And you know what? He's earned it. You've done it, John. You've done it through the years.
Well, I've been lucky. I've been, like I said, to do this for so long, yeah, you have to acquire a thick skin, and you got to be able just to move forward. And that's the game. There are no excuses. Weather's going to be changing here, and I mean, as we see right across the country, weather patterns are changing. So all you can do is try to be ahead of it, and hopefully, you could get a good race off. But that's the course. I mean, the day is the day, and
Now,
that's what makes this sport so exciting. I mean, I understand if you do have bad conditions, you move it back a day or you move it back 2 days, but you try to fly within that window. You do your best to get that, to stick to a schedule.
John, I'm going to say something, my friend. You've earned 3 weeks. You've earned 3 weeks, John. If all the people show up at your place and the weather's bad, right? You've earned 3 weeks of your one-off years. You've done so good to keep it in the timeline. And I don't, guys, you don't understand. Book the trip to San Diego, and you will see what I mean. You'll feel it, you'll see it, you'll smell it, you'll taste it. This son of a bitch can race pigeons. Tar Heel Classic says this. Hey guys, great race, awesome manager. You're getting a compliment there, John. Don't blush. Tough course, but the survivors are the best. Is that
That's
correct?
they. That's I appreciate the comment, but you're right. I mean, in some respect, we try not to look at it that way, the survivors, but in the end, yeah, what comes home is what you're looking for, and we just challenge the birds. I mean, even for what we do, distance, the jumping, is that becoming a thing of the past? I'm not sure. We'll find out in time. It is a jump, but like I said, we used to jump them a lot further before that. So, the old timers appreciated that, and that was, that's what it was always about. So,
I
anyways,
don't
but hey,
know.
my cell phone's dying on me, so
All right.
I got.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this up. Tar Hill, you got lucky on that one because I would have questioned what your comment was, but it's okay. Hey John, we're gonna be on next week. We're gonna do this shit again. You did great. Bird's looking great. You keep going.
All right,
Uh,
bud.
if
Good luck
people
in
are
your
sending
racing.
birds, when's the last they can send?
Uh, yeah, this week and next week, and we're done.
You guys got
So,
about 10 to 14 days. Send your birds. Quit fucking around. Send those birds. John, you did great tonight. Those birds, I'm jealous. I wanted to win you a race at least one time, so I didn't have to say I only won $1,000, but I only won $1,000 in your race. But that's
Yeah,
okay.
I've heard that. I've heard that from many
Hey,
guys, many
John,
many years.
John, you're a shit handler.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Hey guys, that's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the best one-off race manager in the United States of America. And you know what? This son of a bitch, I'll put him against the world. I told Florian Hendricks in Qatar, that's the man they need, John Timmerman. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. You will see me on tomorrow. This is One Love Wednesdays.
Good
We
luck,
bring
Ryan.
you, hey, John, do me a favor. Go have yourself a drink. And I'm still upset. Didn't win more than $1,000 in your race.
All
You're
right,
an
man.
ass. You're an asshole. In my All right, guys, I gotta go. We'll see you next. I'm sorry.
Good
I'll
night,
see you
bud.
next
See ya.
Wednesday. Bye for now. Bye. Ah, listen, dude, my There you go. What a show. What a show. Bam.